Today on Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond.
Don't do it.
Fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat.
Don't.
Fat guy in a little coat. Fat guy in a little coat.
Take it off, dickhead. I'm serious.
Richard, what's happening?
Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to another spectacular episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I am your host, Lou Diamond, and oh my God, today we have a gentleman. I just call it the 3-2-1 method. He's the author of 3 books, hosts 2 podcasts, and is recognized as one of the 50 most influential sales and marketing leaders in the world. His integrity-centered sales strategies are used daily by companies across the globe, as he has spoken in more than 30 countries on 5 continents, helping salespeople find and retain better clients. Thrive Loud listeners, I bring you the sales hunter, Mr. Mark Hunter. Mark, how are you today, my friend?
Hey, with an introduction like that, why don't we just end the show right there and we'll call it a day, okay?
I was thinking about it, but I think our listeners have been intrigued too much.
Yeah,
They're too
I know.
excited. They need to hear more.
Yeah,
they want to hear more.
and even my mom is excited now to hear this. So,
I think your mom is always excited. You know, aren't our moms? Thank God those are the 2 listeners we have on the show, yours and mine, and we've made them happy.
Hey, you got that right, man. That way I always have an audience for my podcast. So
That's very true. Mark, let's do this to kick things off. I know a little bit about you. We both are professional speakers. We're both members of NSA. We've hung out. For the record, Mark is much taller than I am, much taller than most people, even though we look like we're head to head here in this interview. Thank you, Mark, for accommodating the height discrepancy. And he put himself at a level chair. There he is right there. If you're looking on the video, you'll be amused. Can you share with the listeners kind of how being the sales hunter became your gig?
yeah, it really goes back to a police department, the Seattle Police Department. I was in college and sales wasn't what I wanted to go into, but I got too many speeding tickets. I could not afford car insurance when I got out of college. So I had to get a job that supplied me with a car. That meant a sales job. I was so good at it, I got fired from the first one. So I got a second sales job. I was so good at that one, I got fired from that one. I literally was on my third sales job third company car, that I finally figured out what sales is all about. And that's the story of my life. If I had not gotten those speeding tickets, you and I would not be having this conversation today.
So it's all because of speeding tickets that you ended up.
Right.
You just reminded me, by the way, we're going to give a shout out to another person. You're coming to me from Dallas, Texas. I'm just thinking of Christine Cashin, who I've been in a car with, who also has a lot of speeding tickets. She's one of the fastest drivers, and there's a couple of states she's probably not allowed to drive through. Have you guys raced on highways in Texas?
I have not raced against her, but yes, her reputation lives far and wide in the great state of Texas. Yeah, but if you knew where she lives off in it's not the end of the world, but you can see it from there. So to get to the metropolitan area of Dallas, I know we're not like New York City. I know you got to drive fast and far and long to get there. So
driving fast and far and long, I know that isn't always the case, but you've obviously had your speeding tickets. But you have a unique methodology into sales, and you have an interesting.
Yeah. Who ever planned to go into sales? I mean, come on, name one kid that you knew. Well, oh, wow, when I grow up, I want to be in sales. It just doesn't happen.
I think people know that they can connect and maybe they want to help push products or they market certain things. I'm with you on that. I agree. They don't come out and say they want to be in sales. Let's put it this way. When did you realize that you were actually pretty good at it?
Yesterday. No. It was on my third job when my boss sat me down and really began to what sales is all about. it was probably, I don't know, 6, 7 years into the job before I really began to realize that, hey, this is working, and the success began to come. But it takes time. I mean, sales is not something you just wake up in the morning and you read a book and you master it. It is an art of just conversation after conversation, rejection after rejection. If you want to get your head slammed against a wall, go into sales, because you'll get your head slammed against a wall. But it's that ability to just know how to develop relationships and create and be authentic and transparent. And that was some of my problem early on, because I viewed customers as just like bowling pins. My objective is to knock you down, take your money, and run. Doesn't work too well.
Yeah.
It creates chaos after the fact. Just saying.
I'm a big fan of making connections versus making sales.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a lot of the things that I'm about. And all those connections happen with great conversations.
Yeah.
As someone who travels the world and speaks to people, when you talk to the companies that are having you come in and speak to their sales organization, what are the biggest problems that their salespeople are encountering in today's environment? And we're talking like not just today, the day we're recording this here in February. I'm talking about in the current recent year that you've been speaking to people. Is there one symptom, problem that is showing up and popping up more often than not?
It is a problem that is constant. It is there every day, and that is prospecting. How do I get good leads? How do I find the right people who I can sell to? In good times and bad times. I just saw a study on this yesterday, put out by a major company. 50% of sales leaders, sales managers said prospecting, number one problem, 50%. And, I've seen studies like that time and time again. That's it. I mean, if you can figure out how to help people get better prospects that you can close and turn into customers, wow, you're going to be a success.
I agree. And I'll also state that there's lots of options today to try to find new prospects. And I'm just going to go here with my favorite comments that I've been seeing. I mean, if you go into your LinkedIn profile and you look in your messaging in-mail box or the messages you get, I know this sounds crazy, but it feels like there is an abundance of very bad sales tactics taking place. As for those not watching the video, Mark is covering his eyes here. Can we discuss this? Because is this tactic, which many people seem to be buying and jumping into to try and get leads, is it desperation? Or is it just, do they actually think this stuff works at some basic level?
It's sheer stupidity because they're lazy. I call this connect and pitch. Hey, let me connect with you on LinkedIn, and then I'm going to pitch you right away. Right. I get these messages all the time. Here's the deal. The deal is people are really afraid to pick up the phone. Well, nobody answers the phone. Well, yeah, nobody answers the phone because you're stupid. Okay. Again, this isn't a one and done process. Well, I can call Lou and you answer the phone. No, that's not going to happen. You probably ignore your phone just like I do. But it's about building a relationship. Go back to what you mentioned earlier. You have to be willing to take the time to create the relationship. So I'm on social media. I'm on LinkedIn a lot, but I use it to allow people to understand who I am. They begin to see, okay, who's this person? I'm not connecting with people and then suddenly pitching them. No. But we begin fostering a relationship, because when it comes to social media, people forget that first word. It's social. It's having a conversation. And that's what you do very well. You have a conversation. And that's why you have the relationships and the contacts that you do, and in turn, the opportunities.
I think that, to the point about by the way, I'm not kidding you about bad examples. I actually took my entire LinkedIn inbox during a presentation I gave recently, and we went live, and I shared, this is really what I have right now. And we went through everything. Mark, it was really scary, because I felt like I was becoming more disconnected with these people that I've never met before than the connect and pitch tactics. So let's help people out here. instead of doing the connect and pitch tactic,
Yeah.
how can people aren't picking up their phones unless they know the number in the system. How are some of the good ways that you're helping people at least become the sales hunter, find the opportunity so they can actually start to have the conversation? Because these tactics we've seen aren't working.
Well, first of all, there's two principles you got to keep in mind. Don't boil the ocean. Not everybody out there is your customer. What does this mean? Stay in your lane. Understand who is the type of customer that you can really help the most. And that's the only type of person you want to be dealing with. So what does this mean? I have this definition about sales. It's about helping others see and achieve what they didn't think was possible. Okay, so that's what sales is all about. Prospecting is all about this simple concept that if I have the ability to help you, I owe it to you to reach out to you. I absolutely owe it to you. So if I'm staying in my lane, if you know you Lou match the profile of my perfect customer, I owe it to you to reach out to you. Now, how am I going to do that? I may use LinkedIn, but I'm not going to connect and pitch. I may follow you on LinkedIn and begin chiming in with some comments, posting on some things that you're posting, et cetera, getting that engagement going. And then hopefully you're going to be reciprocating. You're going to be making comments on what I share, et cetera. Then I may message you, hey, really, we've had a great conversation. Love to grab some time with you and just to understand more about you. You see, what I'm doing here is I'm taking the online connection and turning it into the offline conversation. So that's just one strategy. I may be using a series of LinkedIn and voicemail, a series of email and voicemails. But it's not, gee, let's send this email out 10 times. And after I send it once, I'm going to say checking in. I'm not a hotel. Every message I send you, Lou, is going to have to be personalized. It's going to have to be very specific relative to something that's relative to you. It's not about me selling. You don't want to buy from me. What you want is again, have answers to your challenges, to your problems. So I can share with you some insights, and some information relative to your industry, relative to your business, relative to who you are. And I'm going to do the same thing in voicemail. Voicemail is a really powerful tool. Why? Because your personality gets to come through. Yeah. You get to leave your voice, but don't leave a 34. Just before we went live here on the show, I was listening to a 3-minute audio text message a person left me. And I'm sorry, it was pain-filled. I don't know why I was only listening to it because I wanted to see, is this salesperson going anywhere with this? No. So again, it's all about brevity in email, brevity in voicemail. But you're going to probably have to rinse and repeat. It's those 3 words on a bottle of shampoo are pretty powerful. Every bottle of shampoo says the word rinse and repeat. I know, Lou, I'm sorry. I'm touching a sore spot with you right now.
It's okay. I'm familiar with these things because
you're familiar with them.
My wife has them on the shelf in the shower, so I can see the items. I just don't use them. That's okay.
You just don't participate in that. Yeah.
I used to. I still use some things. We have to keep the scalp, moist.
Hey, but so this is the whole thing, that rinse and repeat is so key to sales. But it's not putting the reaching down to the floor of the shower and picking that old shampoo back up and it's new shampoo. It's a new message. Yeah. But you may have to do this half a dozen times. You have to do it a dozen times. Because Lou, I've been trying to reach you for years, and I finally broke through to you. So,
well, and this is actually a very good point. And I think a lot of salespeople are under a lot of pressure to deliver in ways that become a little bit more pushy or forward. And a relationship takes time to build. And it is really hard to move at the speed of business today and leadership and their expectations and goals of what people want. How do you help salespeople couch and balance that aspect of it? Because, by the way, there are salespeople who have quotas and numbers and things they're trying to drive. So time becomes a pressure filled. So while they can't boil the ocean, they need to at least make themselves a cup of tea. How can we at least be able to help people balance the need that others are asking of them versus the art of having great conversations and building the relationships?
Yeah. They always say the best time to plant a tree is, 5 years ago. Second best time is today. So you got to start today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my prospecting list. These are people who I know. and I'm going to start reaching out to them. I may email them and leave them a voicemail, etc. No response. I get that. So then I just keep dripping. And every day I'm going to put a couple new names into my list. So I may have a cadence. It may be 15, 20 steps. But as I begin working them through. So that's going to be the way that I'm going to take it with really new people. But here's the whole thing. You probably already have some existing customers. There may be customers that are already buying from your company or buying from you. Call them up, talk to them, learn from them how your company's helped them. And what are you going to find out? You're going to find new opportunities because there may be additional ways to sell them more. There may be other people that they could refer you to. Again, referrals, great, powerful way to develop business rapidly. There are multiple, but the great salesperson doesn't sit there and just wait for the phone to ring. Because again, I'm going to do all three of these. So I'm going to have a platform where I'm going to be going after new people, prospects. I'm going to have a platform where I'm going after kind of existing customers, getting more business from them. And I have a platform where I'm going after referrals. I'm going to be using all three of those to begin developing my business. But you're right, it doesn't happen overnight. And this is where salespeople get in trouble because they panic and they think, oh, I got to send out 1,000 emails. I got to send out 100. Well, let me tell you something. You send a bad email to one person, it's a bad email. You send a bad email to 1,000 people, you just shot yourself in the foot. Slow down.
I love that. And by the way, I also love your delivery. It's very calm and soothing. I could listen to your voice all day long. You should have your own program. Oh, wait, you have two of them.
You're listening to the Mindy 95 KQZ Radio, 719 in the city. Yes, Christine Cash and I were DJs back years ago.
Can you imagine I mean, first of all, what a combination. First of all, who would get to work first would be a real question, obviously, because the race would be on, no matter how far away Christine is driving in her car. Listeners are going to understand. We're going to have to share this episode with her so she knows that, this is actually happening. But I want to bring this last point up here, and this has to do with today's world. You talked about, obviously, the art of having a conversation and being on the phone and speaking or doing a Zoom, like we're actually recording this via a virtual platform that we like to use. In today's environment, obviously, we can be a little bit more remote and not be in person. Talk about that balance in today's world and in basically, obviously going out and finding the right prospects and sales and whatnot, not having to leave your desk and your screens versus actually getting out there in front and touching the flesh, if you would.
But see, to me, this allows us to move even faster. And I like this because I can go out onto the internet. There may be an article or a link to some business journal or something like that. And I can turn around and I can email it to somebody, email it to a prospect I know, email it to an existing customer. I can call up somebody and say, hey, I just saw this study was just released. I don't know if you've seen it. Curious as to your thoughts on this. So there are so many ways that we can expedite processes. Now, what I'm talking about there are more kind of follow-up techniques. You may have a little bit of a relationship with somebody. How do I stay engaged with that? How do I stay relevant? Because I can't call them up and say, well, I could call them up and say, buy from me. They're not going to buy from me. No. But I got to develop that relationship. So I'm going to be providing them value, providing them information, providing them insights. And this is something that you can do rapid fire throughout the day because you're not spending time, whether it be walking down the street, getting on an airplane, driving the car, whatever it might be. So really our ability to have more contacts has never been easier because we've accepted this whole world of virtual selling.
Yeah. Virtual selling and virtual presenting and in-person presenting. I want to talk about you. I want to shift this to the work that you do, Mark. You are one fun speaker. You get around. I heard my opening bio. I think. Did you just come back from Eastern Europe? Just
got back from Vilnius, Lithuania, Sunday night. Yeah.
And how did that go? Went well?
That went great. We had 1,000 people in the audience, 400 people online, and it was absolutely terrific. Yeah. And you know what's interesting? See, sales is global. They had the exact same issues that we have here in the U.S. They were asking me about price. How do I get a better price? How do I get more prospect? It was exact same thing. I mean,
have you brushed up on your Lithuanian? I mean, how did that come out?
No, I learned one word. Velas or valance, which is like high. That's the only word. I mean, I'm sorry. I am. Hey, this is the whole thing. English is the language of business.
It is.
It's the language of money. And wherever I go in the world, I mean, rarely, I mean, Japan is probably one of the few places that I really run into. Okay, we do have to have serious translators here.
I'm trying to imagine, by the way, you even just trying to utter out the word that you couldn't even remember what to say, and then say, "Okay, I'm going to go back to the English here." I could see the wise ass piece.
Hey, I knew it for 10 seconds. Okay, I asked the person just before they introduced me, "How do you say hello?" And I got it down, and I got up on stage. Yeah, and that's it.
So on the similar component of being able to travel to these places and get your message out and being on stage versus obviously having virtual environments that you could also reach tons of different people, and obviously have a podcast doing the same. You love wearing the hats of teaching, delivering your message, traveling and delivering your message. Which one of those hats is kind of your favorites to deal with?
Do I have to pick? Come on.
Well, yeah, I would like you to at least, because look, you're doing a lot of it. Obviously, you're not just traveling around. You're doing the mix and marries. So is there one that you like more than the other?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy whatever I'm doing in the moment. I mean, you know, when you get to take the stage and you're keynoting, come on, that's you're in the moment. When you're also sitting there being able to deliver something like this right now, this is fun. You and I are having a good time. It's hard to say. Here's what it comes down to. What I love doing is being able to influence and impact people. That's what, you know, yesterday I was doing a webinar, and it was for a company. It was inviting people into it. It was a lead magnet tool for them. And I didn't know how many people were on, and I'm watching the ticker down there, and 200, 300, 400, 500, got up to over 1,000 people. You go, wow, there's a lot of people on this webinar. I guess I better show up and be good. But you know what it is? That's fun because it's more people I get to influence and impact. And I don't say that arrogantly. Mm-hmm. I say that because I want to be able to help people. And if I can help people, then I've done my job. That's what sales is, helping people.
Love it. Let's do the admin part of the show, and we're going to have an extended version of Fun Street here. Share with the listeners, if you could, all the places where people can find you, websites, URLs, etc. We will put it in the show notes, but they can always hear it from you and have a much more direct way to connect to it.
The website is thesaleshunter.com, not saleshunter.com, thesaleshunter.com. And of course, you can find me on Sales Logic Podcast and my other podcast, the Sales Hunter Podcast. Gee, that's kind of original, isn't it? And of course, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on YouTube. Just go in and Google the Sales Hunter or Mark Hunter Sales, and I'll pop up. I'm there. And I've written some books. So, hey, you can find me in your neighborhood bookstore.
Love it. You can find him, by the way, and his books are behind him if you're looking in the video here. He's got lots of different great pieces to read, and he's got a real simple message, and he's right on point, which is why he's here on Thrive Loud, because he's thriving on most days. So to kick off Fun Street, I'm going to go not so fun. I want to do a question that is a signature one here on Thrive Loud. And before we get to all the really fun stuff, you've been kicking and killing it for quite some time, Mark. You're a heck of a presenter. You're an amazing speaker and an amazing communicator, and are passionate about what you do. We all have those days, however, where we're not kicking on all cylinders and we're a little off our game. Mark Hunter, when you have trouble thriving, what practice do you seek, or which individual do you seek out to get yourself back on the thriving track?
You know what? You just stop. You just stop. And you take out a piece of paper and you write down all the things that you're thankful for. All the things, I mean, again, I have found myself many, many times, you wake up in the morning and go, and you just take a piece of paper, write down. And then, you know what I love doing? I love referring somebody to, I may have just got done speaking somewhere, and next day I'm down out. So you know what? I'm going to refer somebody else to that engagement, for next year. There's something you get jazz when you help somebody else. That's really cool. I had a person call me the other day that they said they just got a great, really nice deal. And it was because of it was an introduction that I made. And I go, that's cool. That jazzes you. When you help people, then you pick yourself up.
Love it. Can you share with the listeners what you shared with me as one of your all-time favorite movies?
Tommy Boy. How could I have chosen any other movie? I mean, come on. I mean, this is like now. Okay, there's a lot of good sales movies out there, but I made the upper half of my class possible. Okay, so I got to go for the sales movie with the most humor, and that is Tommy Boy. And if you have not seen it, go ahead and go to your local. No, you can't even buy a copy of it anyway. Download it and just send the bill.
It's streaming somewhere.
You could stream it somewhere and send the bill to Lou. He will be happy to pay for it.
So here's what you need to know about Tommy Boy and why. First of all, I love the movie too, and ironically, it was on the other day, and I was just sucked right in. But it was the first time that I saw Tommy Boy that is a story in and of itself. I am dating the woman who is now my wife. She was at NYU Law School, and she was studying for her finals or something of that nature. And we went over there and said, "Come on, we'll go rent a movie." This was like when you went to go to a Blockbuster and go get the movies. And there was a Blockbuster right by her apartment. And she's trusted me. You go pick a movie. And I see Tommy Boy, and I had not seen it. And I picked Tommy Boy. Now, I am literally laughing out loud. She's thinking like he's going to rent a movie. We're going to get a little intimate, romantic, that type of thing. I'm literally peeing in my pants. And she's like, this is the stupidest movie I've ever seen for all the slapstick components of it. But it is quite good. And it does give you a new perspective of chicken wings every time I think of that movie.
I tell you that scene in Chicken Wings, because they did have a Supreme Pizza in the trunk of the car.
That is true. Worst case scenario that they can have it. Yes.
There you go.
And
so many great lines in that movie.
So many good lines, and we do miss the great Chris Farley. It was a gift to us, and that was a great. But buddy movies are great, but that buddy movie and a sales movie mixed together is just awesome with some really good SNL like humor. So it's always fun. We're going to do the speed round here, Mr. Mark Hunter, which I know you're going to be able to handle because you love to go very fast, as we've learned here on this show.
I'm going to put my hand on the buzzer. Hands on the buzzer.
I'm going to ask you a question. I just want the first thing that comes to your mind. These are things that lift you up, motivate you, make you feel good, basically make you thrive. You ready,
Football.
my friend?
Oh.
No, I have to ask you the question.
Oh, I thought you were asking me already. Okay.
But I will get to something like that. Okay. Of late, a song that you love to listen to or one that pumps you up?
Nothing comes to my mind. Man.
Not
is that
one song?
shallow?
What song do you like? Is there a song you like? It doesn't have to be, just any song.
I don't listen to much music.
Okay. Is there a podcast that you would listen to that isn't mine or yours that you might listen to? Or an audiobook or something?
Selling from the Heart is a great podcast. Yeah.
Okay. Selling from the Heart.
Yeah.
A favorite food that's not a dessert.
Pizza.
What kind of pizza do you like?
Hawaiian pizza.
Oh, so you like what's a ham and pineapple? Is that the
pineapple? Because I'm from the West Coast. Okay, I'm from the West Coast, so we savor our Hawaiian pizzas. Yes.
A favorite food that is a dessert.
Oh, cheesecake. Oh,
are you a cream cheesy like New York style cream cheesecake, or are you like an Italian cheesecake kind of a thing?
No, New York style cheesecake all the way. That has to. Yeah.
Got it.
Profound difference there.
An activity you wish you did more of?
Running.
An activity
not running from things, just running.
Just running.
Yeah.
I got that.
Yeah.
An activity
Sometimes I'm running from things, but that's another story.
An activity you wish you did less of?
Work.
Okay. An activity you recently tried that you loved so much you want to tell everybody else to try as well?
Man, these are tough questions. I'm like,
this is a tough podcast, Mark. You should know this.
This is not for slackers.
No.
What did I try recently?
Some new activity, something new that you tried. It could be something you ate. It could be an activity you did. It could be something you saw. Something you did. Something that was new.
I went to a Mavericks game.
Oh, that's cool.
And that was good.
And you guys, at the time we're recording this, you guys just picked up Kyrie Irving, which is like a huge deal.
That's really going to keep the newspapers very happy here because there's going to be a lot of content they'll be able to write on him for a long time.
This is going to be educational. All of a sudden, by the way, all the best players in the East went to the West. Oh, well, what are you going to do? If I could snap my fingers, Mark Hunter, and you could be anywhere in the world, where are you?
Melbourne, Australia.
Have you been?
That is, That is like my favorite place. I love going to Melbourne. There are 3 places I would move to in a heartbeat: Vienna, Austria, Melbourne, Australia, or Singapore.
Wow. Wow. Impressive. You originally are from the West Coast. How did you end up in Texas?
It's called grandkids. We had been living in Nebraska, and we used to live in Jersey. Okay. Okay. And when our kids were in school, we said, this is not where we want to raise our kids. Sorry. Excuse me. And so I took a job, moved to Omaha, raised the kids, and then the kids grew up and they left, and they never came back. So, I'm looking at my wife. She's looking at me. Why are we staying here? Who's got the most grandkids? The most grandkids was here in Dallas. So guess what? We moved to Dallas. Plus, it's a better airport, better weather, and everything else. So,
understood. All righty. Yeah. Final question before we go out there. If you were able to help a certain organization, you say you love helping people, and specifically whether it's to help them with an opportunity or help them grow their sales business, when it comes to helping those type of things, what help does Mark Hunter need? How can I help you? What could be the thing that you need help with? So the next time I think of Mark Hunter, what can he be helped with? For somebody who is so giving, I want to give something back.
Yeah. You know what? It's just about relationships. It's just connecting with people. That's what I love doing the most. I met some people the other day, and I've already connected with them with some other people, invited them to some things. And life is about relationships. The more people you connect with, the more opportunities you're going to have to serve and to receive. But you always give first, with never having the expectation of getting anything in return.
Mark Hunter, the sales hunter, truly a pleasure to have you on Thrive Loud, man. Always great to connect with you. And hey, thank you for what you're giving to the world. And hey, we're going to connect you to all our listeners here. So you're going to love that gift, and a lot of people are going to connect with you and reach out, I'm sure.
Thank you.
It's great, man, to have you on.
Great selling.
To all our listeners out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep moving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.